Welcome back to your channel. My name is Brad and this is SuperCoach Pro. Today we're doing the round one SuperCoach team review. So we actually went big this week. We scored a big 2-2-1-8. I butchered a couple of things late in the piece to save myself some trades in future. So you'll see something weird where you're like, why did you do this? But overall, have a look at the side. The team looks unbelievable. Good starting side, good pods, and overall pretty happy. Just butchered about 50 or 60 points within that, but you'll see why. Now, I don't know if my trades, I haven't undone them, but this is what I'm thinking so far anyway. So I might undo the changes so you can see the side as a whole. But I think there's a way where we kind of need Levi Ashcroft in the side against West Coast. He could go big. We saw what Gold Coast midfielders did, and I feel like he might do the same. So he might come in, and Pau Pepper might have to come out for that reason. I stuffed around on my side, grabbed Hewitt, and then put Week down the field in the back line to try to outscore Perryman, which didn't pay off. But I had Bo Owen there to whoop DeConning score. And, didn't quite pay off at all. I thought Gawn might go, 170, 180. But I knew he'd be a safe 120-ish. So I was just throwing everything at the stumps on the Sunday, trying to play super aggressive. Didn't pay off. And Winsy's the other guy I'm looking at. Barring team sheets, time on ground for old mate over here is 50%, which is just stupid. Like, what are you doing, Scott? Ben Hobbs, you played him up forward. Anyway, it's not an Essendon review because I don't give a stuff about Essendon as much as I do the Tigers. And on that, Kane Corns, how you going this morning, Kane Corns? I seriously hope that you're crying yourself to sleep. Sleep with the lights on. I bet you did. Sheasel 106, he was all right. He played a lot forward. Zorko, what a pick this was. Swung to Zorko late because I thought kick-out duties, you just can't go wrong with Zorks. And, yeah, really repaid me for that high price tag, which you don't really want to pay up for, but felt like his fixture's juicy enough, and he's a bit of a pod, 14%. Clark, 107 with 0 kick-ins, unbelievable. Good pod as well. I think he's about 8% owned. Roberts, 95. Everyone's jumped on. He's 41% owned, but he butchered this last kick at the last couple minutes of the quarter, and Brisbane converted. So that was pretty much game from Roberts. So that was a good negative 10 points, basically, for maybe even more potentially. You just don't know what the scaling's like when it's a clutch game like that. Now, you're thinking, why does he got a week over Perryman? I brought in a week really late into the piece for a two-part take at this, hoping that he could go like a 70 game in the wet potentially, tackle merchant, wasn't sure. And then the other option is for this week, obviously Perryman will play in my side. I don't know if I'm really hot on taking him out. I just want one more look at it. I don't want to be super aggressive. But week is purely also so I can actually loophole Trainer or Reed, which you're going to have to loophole Reed first, obviously because he's playing the first game. Now, how you use the loophole, if Reed plays well, you leave Week there. But if he doesn't, you put Trainer on the spot there. So looping basically means you use a dead player, and it means the scorer in the emergency that scored really high takes that score of the dead player. So hopefully that's explained. There's other things I can explain, but I'll do that on a live stream. Which, speaking of, that went nuts last night. I had 64 people at once, I'm pretty sure. The channel's just exploded over the preseason. The preseason content's been good enough to back up this team, and that's what I've really been doing this year, studying more than most years that I have, looked into the players a lot better than what I usually would, and, yeah, taking a little bit more seriously. Not that I didn't before, but the side's shown that. And then picking a pod like Richards, 1% owned, he's the weapon. Pretty sure there's a couple others you'll see have Richards. It wasn't something we really talked about, but he just passed the eye test for me. And the no strapping before the game was huge. I was like, he looks fit, he looks fine. Same with Bailey Dale. I would have went there, but it's just I didn't want to risk two players in the same side being bevoed potentially, early sub, who knows. Rosie, 128. I'm spewing this pick isn't a pod anymore, but as soon as Butters went down, he was the obvious choice, hence why I didn't want to Sarong or Neil it. that price tag that they had. And then Oliver 93. I don't know if I'm a fan of anti-potting him. I've heard this in my stream last night, but I don't think I could do it myself. You're just going to start the guy value and then go sideways. Maybe, when a primo comes down, let's say Josh Dacos, Nick, comes down, then you swap him for him. But you don't just aggressively move him round 2, in my opinion. Chera 106, really good pig. And then people that thought Callahan was a trap, not at all. 104, that 104 looked a lot better than that on the eye test. And people went Will Day, but Day's going to get tagged every day, and Callahan won't. So they'll preferably go to Green. So he's a safe pick. I think he's a breakout. He was also my Jaden Short head-to-head. A lot of people paid up 440 around this D4, D3 mark for a short type. I just ran Callahan knowing that he's going to score him every day of the week. I know he probably won't finish as a top-of-the-line sort of guy, but he'll be a handy M8 anyway over a player like Short who's past his prime. Foss, this is hard to get the mix up right. Maybe I should have went Ashcroft, but the fact that he was sub-fringe scared me off. Foss playing down back is heat map, so he should get DPP and play down back as D6 worst case if I haven't upgraded that sooner. And then, our mate here, just, I don't know what's going on. Elijah, just, 57% time on ground. So points per minute's unreal, but first half shaky, second half better, but they played Redmond in the midfield. Like, what are they going to do in the future? Kind of scares me off the pick. And Lindsay on the flip side to that, and a Levi Ashcroft on the flip side to that just looked unbelievable. So I don't mind rookie corrections, but I'm not a huge fan of one-shot Perryman sort of jump-offs because we saw what happened with players like I'm trying to think of the primo last year from Essendon, but after that he went well anyway. Same with Young. We can be way too reactionary for that. So don't buy into flipping primos too quickly. Unless you've missed out on a Rankin or a Baz or something like that, that's totally different. And then Nevitt was scary as well. People, first quarter freaking out. Just let the players play out on Twitter and stuff like that. Just watch them play a whole 4 quarters, just including your primos. So Nevitt, really poor first quarter, and then the last 3 quarters he went nuts. In fantasy, he scored like a 102. So don't ever get worried and calling these players a trap in the first quarter. Just watch them the whole entire game. Do they pass eye test? Yes or no? Is their role different to what it was in preseason? And then base your decision off that. Hewitt, this was the only reason I brought Hewitt in was so once Pau Pepper completely just didn't show up, just like the whole of Port Adelaide. I had to bring him in so I could swing him forward and then use Pau Pepper's money in the midfield for an Ashcroft or a Nod type. I'm really torn between O'Driscoll and Levi Ashcroft, to be honest, because they both look so good, and I can only pick one with the money I've got. And then Hasty got subbed out. Don't know what St Kilda. What are you doing, Ross? St Kilda, another hard year for you guys. That looked awful. And Hasty was not your worst player. I don't know why they subbed him out. Didn't make sense to me. And Camperelli, Richmond played really well. Probably for 3 quarters anyway. So, that's fine. Emergencies and these rookies are always going to score between 50 and 70. Not too many ones that are going to bang out at 80 out of nowhere. That's why I want to get on a Lindsay and Ashcroft for that reason. And then Gawn, DeConning, the 1-2 combo I think is pretty safe. And I'm probably going to jump off DeConning when Pitt comes and go from DeConning to Cherry, around, 7 or 8. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. Just whenever Pitt comes back, DeConning's out of there. Forward line, it's the same cookie cutter forward line, so I do apologise. There's no mix-up. I tried to be a little bit of spicy with the rookie at F8, but still made no difference. I actually took the wrong spicy rookie there, so it's the most boring forward line. Horn Francis got tagged by Perryman. I forgot to just dash over this, by the way. Gawn played way better than 129, I thought. He got stuck on the bench for about 10 minutes because the ball was on the other side of the wing as well. I think it was 4th quarter, and he was on 120 at 3-quarter time. DeConning 148, smash Nank, but it was pretty even battle, to be honest. Say smash Nank, but they both took the chocolates. And Nank kicked a couple goals, though. So, very even battle. And he's probably a hot VC option by the stream we're talking about on my Sunday Night Lives. And McRae just this is what happens, Bevo, when you actually play players in the right positions. They just score well and play well. And then Bailey Smith, if you missed him, that's harsh. It was an overthink from people that missed him. Not giving you a spray, but just overthought it. The knee strapping, like it wasn't even that heavy. It was like one wrap on above the knee and one below. He plays the right role. Yeah, wing's not enticing for scoring, but we see McCluggage every year be a 550k player and he plays wing and it would be CBAs too. So just don't overthink value picks. Overthink maybe your primo, sure, but not value picks. He's a bad miss. Now you're wasting a trade. You missed it at 147 and now you got to rearrange your side to bring in Baz. So that's not a fun time. The same with these Garcia and Sanders picks. I know it's only round one and early, but Garcia and Sanders are still no good. Like I flirted with Garcia just because he had the CBA role for about a hot minute, and then I just went back and watched the footage. I thought, no, he just not for me. And then Daniel 81 looked better than 81. Power Pepper hugely got this wrong. So in my team, there's a lot we can talk about. I absolutely failed with trying to be too cute with Leak and trying to get more points off my bench from a 62, and I absolutely failed in the Power Pepper test. So I'm not saying my side's perfect, or else I would have won the 2K, whatever it is, this week. Yeah, I don't know. I was watching the opposite game. I was watching North and Dogs for this, so huge concern with Power Pepper. But he also, on the token to that, could go nuts against Tigers. I wouldn't be surprised if he belted out at 80 or 90. And then same with old mate. If his time on ground, Elijah, goes to 75%, he's scoring a 90. So there's two ways to look at these things. So we try not to be too reactionary, but we just sort of hope team cheats. One of these guys get named sub or one of them gets dropped, so it just makes it easier for you to burn trades. Ideally, you want to hold trades for the first week, but I get people need to fix their side before going into it. There's so many different ways you can play it. Davison, 39, looked way better than 39. Max Hall should have been on field potentially, but people say, I left 80 points, 100 points on the bench. Yeah, we're always going to do that every week. So it probably is something I don't really want to hear because you can't get rookie roulette right every time. And if you did, you wouldn't be complaining about what points on the bench you had. Like you're always going to give up points with rookies. And then Flynn, 87, could get dropped. I don't know how many hitouts he had in it in the end, maybe a dozen or so, something like that. But he, apart from kicking that goal up forward and a few marks up on the wing, he could be gone. You can't lose that many hitouts. If you're running him R2, super risky. You're going to have to use a boost to get out of that situation potentially. You can't go down to Darcy Fort and rely on him. But, the side overall, pretty happy with. I also put left points on the board. If I had a left Perriman as that, I've already lost 49 points there. And then if I had left it on DeConning, I've lost another, 15, 20 points there as well when you math it up. So essentially I've left about 70 points on the table. So it could have been a 2-3 round for me as well. But this year I'm just going to take a lot more risks than what I normally would. And just in my head thinking that I could have scored 2-3 this week feels like a lot of points on board, but I'm sort of hoping this week pick, the looping and whatnot actually sort of makes up for it in the long run, and I can make up those 70, 80 points potentially that I did miss out on. So apart from that, all in all, Primos did well, tick. The pod Primos did well, tick. Rookies, probably 70% happy with them as opposed to what's out there. I see some teams that got all the right rookies, and I sort of wish I was in that position rather than having to correction trade into them. So that's the side. Sorry, it was a little bit of a longer one than I expected. If you didn't see the live stream, it was in two parts last night, about 3 hours overall. So go check that out. I'll do a team preview into the week on what my trades will be on the Thursday, and then leave it at that. So thanks for watching. Give us a like and sub if you haven't already, and I'll catch you on the next. Thanks again for watching.